Okay, welcome to Chapter 6, Indices and Surds. So in this first video I want to cover 6a with index notation. On the screen here I have a few key ideas which I want you guys to take away from this video. The first one is what an indice actually is. So indices, which is also the plural of index, can be used to represent a product of the same factor. So what that means is if you have 2 to the power of 5, this in expanded form is the same thing as saying 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So this would be in expanded form. In index form, this would be 2 to the power of 5. So what you'll realize very quickly is that the 2 is going to be the base and the 5 is going to be the index. Both the expanded form and the index form will give you the basic numeral of 32. So what we can see from the first example is that the base is the factor in the product. The index, or the exponent or power, is the number of times the factor or the base number is actually written. So if we have a look at the example here, if I say x times x times x times x, this is the same thing as saying x to the 4, where x is your base and 4 is your index. The only other exception to this rule that we have to know is that a to the power of 1 will give us a. This can be any number. For example, 5 to the power of 1 will also give us 5. And the final concept I want to cover in this video is prime factorisation. So this tells us, or it involves writing a number as a product of its prime. So for example, if I have the number 108, we need to break this down into the smallest numbers possible into its prime factors. So 108 can be written as 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. And we can actually see that 2 times 2, we see that 2 times. 3 by 3, we see that 3 times. Therefore, in prime factor form, 108 is written as 2 to the power 2 times 3 to the power of 3. Okay, so let's move down and do a couple of examples. So the first couple that I have on my screen is write in expanded form b to the power of 4. So you guys would remember in expanded form, this would be the same thing as saying, let me just get my pen, b times b times b times b. So you can see that we see b 4 times in this question. So in example b, we have mn to the power of 3. So this would be the same thing as saying mn multiplied by mn multiplied by mn, a total of 3 times in expanded form. In example C, we have 5a squared b. So the best way to go around this question is to break down what we know. So we know that this is going to be a 5. We'll separate that. A squared, we see a total of 2 times. So we need to multiply the a 2 times. And the b, we see once. So 5a squared b in expanded form is 5 times a times a times b. Let's move on to the next example. So this question says write each of the following in expanded form and then evaluate. So to work out this one, what we need to do is figure out what 2 to the power of 4 will give us. So 2 to the power of 4 is the same thing as saying 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So we get 2 by 2, which gives us 4, by 2, which gives us 8, by 2, which gives us 16. In part B, this question is asking us to evaluate minus 3 to the power of negative 3. So this is the same thing as saying minus 3 multiplied by minus 3 multiplied by minus 3. So remember our rules, guys. 2 negative numbers will make a positive and a negative number will make a negative. So 2 negatives with negative 3 and negative 3 will give us positive 9. Positive 9 multiplied with negative 3 will give us negative 27. Let's have an example of C. So 4 over 3 to the power of 2 is the same thing as saying 4 over 3 multiplied by 4 over 3. Which should give us 16 over 9. So the next question is asking us write each of the following in index form. So for A, we are looking at doing 2 times y times y times y. So that means that it's going to be 2 multiplied by a y, and we see 3 y's here. So that would be y to the power of 3. For example B, 5 over 9 times 5 over 9 times 5 over 9. We see 1, 2, 3 sets of 5 over 9. So this would then become 5 over 9 to the power of 3 multiplied by 3 over 7, and we see that 2 times. So this would be 3 over 7 to the power of 2. Example C is asking us 3 times A times 3 times 3 times A. You just need to ask yourself, how many times do I see 3? That is 1, 2, 3 times. So that becomes 3 to the power of 3 multiplied with A, and we see A 2 times. So that becomes A to the power of 2. So this would be the same as 3 to the power of 3, A to the power of 2. Okay, so now we come to the final example. Express 60 as a product of its prime factors in index form. So we want to start with 60. You can break this down into 12 and 5. 12 we can break down into 4 and 3. 4 we can break down into 2 and 2. So now what we care about are the last numbers on the bottom of our tree here. So we are left with 2 2s, 1 3, and 1 5. That's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.